Dinner, 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 dinner. What is up, everyone? Movie Way, back again with another review, and this is going to be the first in my Batman review series, Batman the Movie from 1966, and this is directed by Leslie H. Martinson and stars Adam West and Burt Ward. Well, who remembers a time when Batman was in fact a comedy with kapow and bam splitting out the screen when someone takes a hit to the face, and our heroes in Batman and Robin wearing what can only be described as tights. Yes, it's hard to think that this was once actually a thing for the famous or most famous comic book hero out there today, especially when you see the trailer for Matt Reeves' upcoming Batman movie. The contrast is second to none. This movie tells the story of Batman and Robin having to stop the criminal underworld made up of the Joker, the Penguin, the Riddler and Catwoman. Wow, 4 main villains in one Batman movie. That is, if you class Catwoman as a villain, which in this case she is. And I don't think that's quite been done before. I think Batman and Robin was probably the next highest with 3 in there. So there's something different going for this film straight away. And when the movie starts up, you can't help but notice that famous Batman theme about him having his dinner. And it just sets you in the mood straight away. And I thought, you know what? I'm all up for this. I remember loving this movie as a kid, and I couldn't wait to get back into it after all these years. Little did I know what was ahead of me, man. This movie is absolutely ridiculous. I know that's what this is going for, and it was a comedy show before it turned into a movie, but it might just be one of the strangest films I have ever seen. Wow, it's really hard to think that I'm talking about Batman here. Take, for example, the first scene in this film, and this is the one people mention when they talk about this movie more than anything, but Batman and Robin are in the Batcopter. Yes, Batman has a helicopter in this, and Batman is lowered down to this yacht where the criminals are, and Robin starts, driving the helicopter, and Batman comes down the Bat Ladder. It's got Bat Ladder written on it. And as he's going down, the yacht disappears. And then the helicopter goes too low and Batman gets his foot stuck in the water. And when Robin lifts the helicopter up, there is a shark attached to Batman's leg. Then Robin shouts, "Holy sardine!"
Holy sardine!
And then Batman says, "Robin, pass me the shark repellent spray." So then Robin climbs down, hangs upside down, passes him the repellent spray, and Batman sprays the shark off his leg. I mean, that is some opening, right? And I was just trying to have fun with it. You've got to keep an open mind in this movie, haven't you? And that just set me up fully to what this movie was going to offer after that. Not only are there so many villains in this film, but there's so many vehicles as well. Like I just mentioned, the helicopter. He also has a speedboat. And he also has the famous Batmobile. He sure gets around in this film, that's for sure. Adam West is so strange here as well as Batman. I mean, he can't quite get his sentences out. He sort of pauses with every other word he says, and I believe that is intended, but it just became so irritating.
Good thinking, Robin.
And even as Bruce Wayne, he has this strange persona about him. Not my favourite portrayal of Batman or Bruce Wayne at all, I've got to be honest. I thought Burt Ward was way more fun as Robin. I mean, it's probably one of the very few times I prefer Robin over Batman, but he just had this fun personality, always bouncing around with these one-liners, and I definitely preferred him in this film to Adam West's Batman. I think the 4 villains here are definitely the best part of the movie. This is where I was enjoying the film the most. And I wouldn't say any of them steal the show. They're all probably as good as each other. Although Catwoman is more grounded than the other 3, who are just absolutely insane in this film. Even the Riddler acts like the Joker a bit in here. I mean, he's just laughing all the time and saying what all these mad plans that he's coming up with, which you would think the Joker would do.
Who's going to make the feathers fly and knock Batman and Robin out of the sky?
But I never got tired of Cesar Romero's laugh. He's even got a moustache in this film because he refused to shave it off. But he's more like a clown in this movie. I think it's a good interpretation of the Joker. And the Penguin's just walking around quacking everywhere. It's so strange, it really is, but definitely the best part of Batman the movie from 1966 are these four. In some parts too, I would say this movie has a really vintage feel to it, especially when Catwoman and Bruce Wayne are on a date together. I mean, she's not called Selena Kyle in this movie, by the way, but it does have a very muddled look to it. I mean, these parts just seem way more detached to the other parts when the villains or Batman and Robin are on screen. And I do like the vintage look of these older films. It's comforting to me in a little bit of a weird way. But speaking with the visuals, when all the crazy stuff's happening, the set design and everything here is just so bizarre. There are literally signs everywhere telling you what things are. Like, there's a big jug of water and it just says water on it. Or there's this big computer that Batman uses in his Batcave and it just has supercomputer written on it. And I get it's part of the humour and stuff. It becomes really, really irritating at times for me personally. There's also weird moments, like we'll walk into a bar and there'll be a big fight going on with all these people just fighting all over the bar, but there'll be couples in the middle of it making out heavily. Not to mention the ridiculous costumes that these characters are wearing. The dialogue too is just so strange. It's like a load of 5-year-olds speaking in these middle-aged people's bodies. And at first I was sort of up for it, but the novelty just wears off very, very quickly. It almost became a chore to watch, and at the end of the 1 hour and 45-minute mark, you're just glad it's over because you can't really take anymore. It just become just so frustrating. It really did, and annoying. And this wasn't the same movie that I used to enjoy as a kid, watching it from these adults' eyes. It's just very, very dated. I mean, there are some moments in here that I find amusing and the wit can work at times. Like, there's one moment where Batman and Robin have just, done something there and all the media are there. And they say, can we just remove your masks so we can get a picture? And everyone's going, no, Batman and Robin never remove their masks. They can't reveal their identity. And in real life, you'd know who these two people are a mile away. But Robin's just got like this little thing over his eyes. And there's another scene later on, which was one of the best scenes in the film, to be honest, if not the best, where Batman is trying to dispose of this big bomb. And everywhere he goes, something's in the way, and it would have blew up by now easily, but it goes on for a good 3 minutes or something. And he tries to throw it in the water, and some ducks are swimming past. Just everywhere he goes, he cannot get rid of this bomb. So there is some funny moments, but most of the time it just becomes very, very tiring because every single scene and every single line of dialogue is just trying way too hard to be comedic. I actually just gave up at the end because people were getting turned into this colourful dust and then brought back into human form. It was just absolutely insane. A ridiculous, ridiculous movie. Weirdly too, Batman and Robin are always at sea in this film, and it carries that very aquatic theme, I feel. Especially when there's all these sailors who are working for Penguin, every 2 minutes just shouting, yo-ho! The submarines, the speedboats, like I said earlier, I wouldn't say it's a negative, it's just a very, very weird theme that this movie goes for. I didn't know Batman loved the water so much. Look, like I said, this movie does have some good things going for it, but I get what the director was trying to do here, and it had to carry from the TV show into this. And maybe back in the day people loved this, but just because you're going for something, it doesn't mean it's going to come off. And I don't think he executed it very well at all here, especially for modern audiences. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Batman the movie a 4.5 out of 10. And the 0.5 is mainly because I have got to take into consideration when this was made and if it is dated or not. So it just wasn't for me. I mean, a lot of people might like this and find it funny and relate to it a lot more than I did. But I just wasn't a fan, and I can't see me returning to this anytime soon. Okay, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Batman the movie is that Lee Merriweather was actually cast after filming began, and that is why Catwoman does not appear on the submarine with the other three villains at the start of the film. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this review. Not the greatest start for this Batman review series, but I can guarantee you they get better because I have seen them all before. But going back to this one, I really didn't have many memories of it, to be honest, apart from when I was a kid. And it's a shame that it didn't really live up to my expectations. But plenty more Batman reviews to come. What do you think of Batman the movie from 1966? Are you a fan? Do you like it? Leave it down below and I'll reply to every single one of you, I promise. Take it all easy, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.